up guys, it's Zach from the Rolling Times, and today we're going to replace some parts on my car. This is my Mark 5 GTI. I already have it jacked up and the wheels off. We're going to replace control arm bushings, ball joints, and tie rod ends today. And I'm also going to try and clean up these rotors. They've been overheated and they should probably be replaced, but while I have everything else apart, before I replace them, I'm going to try to just clean them up and rebed the pads in and see what happens there. First step's going to be removing the caliper. First you want to take off the spring. Then you'll have two 6mm slide pin bolts. So I already loosened those up. We just got to slide those off and take the caliper out. The next step here is going to be removing the caliper bracket. There's going to be two 21mm bolts we're going to have to pull out. And then we have a Torx bolt here for the rotor, which I already pulled out, and that is... that bolt is right here. That'll be a T30 Torx bolt. So we have the caliper bracket and the rotor off. Now I'm going to start removing the ball joint. They say technically you're supposed to unbolt the drive shaft. I'm going to try to get away without doing that. This nut here is a 19mm. You'll have to use an open end 19. And then I'm going to see if I can get that ball joint out of the steering knuckle. If you were just doing control arm bushings and not replacing the ball joint, you could just unbolt the ball joint down here, opposed to doing it this way. Alright guys, so I just loosened up that nut up top, and then I didn't use any kind of special tool. Just whack that with the hammer a few times, a couple good hits, and it popped loose. Thing we'll want to remove this bolt right here for the control arm. That goes through the front control arm bushing. That's an 18mm. So I'm going to remove that next. Guys, now the last step for the control arm is to remove the rear bushing. You're going to have two 16mm bolts and then an 18mm bolt. Alright guys, so I just pulled this off the passenger side control arm, and I literally was able to pull this thing off. It just separated. So that's how bad my bushing was. Good thing we're replacing it. Alright guys, I just removed the tie rod end. Same procedure for the ball joint. Just smack this with a hammer till it pops out. And then you're going to want to count the threads that are left here and count the turns when you take the tie rod end off, so you can get it pretty close. It may still need a line, but this will at least get you in the ballpark. Alright guys, I got the car mostly back together. I didn't film most of putting it back together just for time's sake. I kind of got caught up here. I just want to show you what I'm doing with the brakes here quick. That pad I just sanded, and this rotor I also put a non-directional finish on. And then this pad is not sanded, but you can see it's glazed and everything's kind of one direction, where that looks like a brand new pad. But I just put that on the belt sander. This is just kind of one last chance before I replace the rotors and brake pads, but since I was doing the other stuff and I had this off anyway, I figured I'd give it a shot. The brakes don't work very well, probably because they got overheated at some point. But yeah, that's going to pretty much wrap up the video for tonight. I'm going to get the car back together, the shop cleaned up, and get out of here because it's getting late. Basically, I showed you how to take everything apart. Everything goes back together the same way. I like to clean up all the bolts and put anti-seize on them, or else you can get replacement bolts. Sometimes they're nice to have if a bolt breaks or something in the middle of the job. If you already ordered replacement bolts, everything's there, it's no worry. But that'll wrap up this video. Thanks guys.